It's true that the world runs on money. With money, a person can do almost anything. But does your entire happiness depend on the number you see in your bank account? Will life only feel complete when you finally have $1 million? Money may drive the world, but real wealth gives you something far more meaningful. The freedom, confidence, and peace of mind to live your full potential. And that's exactly what this summary is about. The Psychology of Wealth, written by Dr. Charles Richards, looks beyond bank balances and shows us what true prosperity really means. It teaches how to build a rich, balanced, and fulfilling life from the inside out. Welcome to Audiobook 101, a place where you listen to powerful insights from life-changing books and learn how to apply them in your own journey. Dr. Charles Richards is a psychotherapist, author, speaker, and educator. For more than a decade, he has trained senior executives from Fortune 100 companies in leadership and personal development. His clients include global giants like IBM, Sony, Apple, General Motors, Motorola, and Honda. Through his seminars and workshops around the world, he inspires people to redefine success and build wealth with intention and purpose. So if you've never stopped to think about your own definition of wealth, now is the perfect time to begin. Can wealth really have a fixed definition? Is there a specific amount of money that makes someone truly wealthy? Why do some rich people constantly fear losing everything, while others, with far less, feel content and secure? The difference lies in mindset, in how we think about money, success, and our own worth. Your relationship with money isn't decided by how rich or poor you are, but by the beliefs you carry within you in this summary. You'll hear stories of people who started with almost nothing, but built their version of wealth by trusting their values, taking risks, and shaping their own opportunities. You'll learn how your conscious and subconscious beliefs influence your prosperity, and how defining wealth for yourself becomes the first step toward a healthier financial life. We will also explore the key elements of the psychology of wealth: self-esteem, responsibility, risk-taking, determination, achievement, and resilience. You'll discover how to connect with your real passions and dreams and slowly begin to see a clearer direction for your life, as if you've finally taken the driver's seat. Today, financial tips are everywhere. Advisors, economists, and YouTubers offer hundreds of techniques to earn, save, and invest money. But the purpose of this summary is different. It isn't just about money-making tricks. It's about bringing abundance into every part of your life and finding meaning in your financial journey. Through powerful stories and lessons, this summary will show what true wealth looks like. Wealth that supports your happiness, purpose, and personal growth. So if you're ready to understand money on a deeper level and transform your relationship with it, let's begin this journey into the psychology of wealth. A richer, more fulfilling life awaits you. How do we define wealth? Our understanding of wealth begins much earlier than we realize. It starts in childhood, shaped quietly and steadily by the environment we grow up in, the beliefs our families hold, and the values they pass down to us. Long before we earn our first rupee or dollar, we form ideas about money. Ideas rooted not in bank balances or possessions, but in what we see, hear, and feel as children. A large house, a fancy car, or a high salary does not define the true psychology of wealth. What defines it is the personal value system we inherit and eventually choose to build for ourselves. Take the story of Leticia San Miguel. She grew up in a home where self-worth was taught as something essential, something every child must carry within. Despite this, society often told her, "You can't do this because you're a girl." But Leticia refused to let those limitations define her. She took risks when others hesitated, believed in herself when others doubted her, and pushed forward with a quiet determination. Each time she achieved something, her belief in her own abilities grew stronger. Her confidence was not built on money, but on a powerful sense of who she was and what she was capable of. Her success wasn't the result of inherited fortune or financial privilege. It came from her inner strength, her perseverance, and the self-worth she nurtured over the years. Letitia never compromised her dreams in the name of security or comfort. For her, money was simply a tool, something that could elevate her life and allow her to serve others. Through years of dedication and commitment, she rose to become a 5-term state representative in Texas, impacting countless lives. Her journey reflects a universal truth. Every person deserves the chance to define wealth on their own terms. But to do that, we must look within and examine the conscious and subconscious beliefs we carry about money. Since each person's upbringing, environment, culture, and dreams are different, expecting one standard formula for success is not only unrealistic, it's unfair. Only you can decide what success means to you. Society often insists that financial assets and material possessions are the true indicators of wealth. But that narrow definition misses the deeper reality. Wealth is not simply the sum of what you own. To understand this better, look at the lives of many lottery winners. Some experience a sudden financial surge and yet lose it all within a few years. The reason isn't misfortune. It's a lack of psychological and emotional grounding. Those who manage to preserve and grow their winnings usually had a strong internal foundation long before money entered their lives. There are countless people who believe that money alone will solve all their problems. They imagine that winning the lottery or receiving a sudden windfall will make every worry disappear. But life does not work that way. Challenges and uncertainties visit everyone, rich or poor, educated or uneducated, lucky or unlucky. What matters is not the size of one's wealth, but the state of one's mind. If you approach life with the belief that wealth is something you can never lose, that you are invincible, then sooner or later that arrogance will lead you into trouble. But if you face challenges with clarity, humility, and emotional maturity, then you build the foundation for lasting prosperity. True achievers understand that risk and failure are part of the journey. When one plan fails, they simply create another because they know there are many paths to the same destination. Their courage comes from the belief that they, not society, have the right to define what wealth and success mean. And once that definition is clear, they pursue it with energy, purpose, and resilience. Self-esteem and its influence on wealth. To create a life that feels wealthy, meaningful, and truly our own, we must understand who we are and what we desire at the deepest level. And for that, the foundation is self-esteem. Many people believe that confidence and self-worth come after they become rich, but in reality, lasting prosperity begins with self-esteem. When someone measures their worth purely through money, they set themselves on a ladder that has no final step. They climb endlessly, yet they never arrive anywhere. No matter how much they earn, the feeling of not enough follows them everywhere, leading to frustration and dissatisfaction. The psychology of money is closely tied to the psychology of self-respect. Society often tries to convince us that wealth means accumulating possessions, assets, or status. But real wealth is shaped by your inner values, your sense of worth, your courage, your willingness to keep going even when the path gets difficult. Think of self-esteem as an emotional immune system. Just like a strong physical immune system doesn't prevent every illness, but helps you recover faster. Healthy self-esteem doesn't remove all problems. Instead, It makes you mentally and emotionally stronger so you can handle challenges without breaking down. People with strong self-esteem approach obstacles with confidence. They take risks when needed, stay committed even during setbacks, and continue moving forward. This inner strength is what supports the psychology of wealth. There's a powerful lesson Donald Trump once shared about his early life. He said that although his father didn't leave him a large fortune to start with, he passed on something far more valuable: the principle that genuine wealth comes from working hard at what you love. When you are passionate about your work, effort becomes natural. You show up every day because you want to, not because you have to. And when passion and persistence come together, success becomes an almost inevitable result. Nathan's story is another example of what strong self-esteem can do. He loved to sing, but in truth, he was not a good singer. In fact, his friends dreaded long car rides with him because his off-key singing was almost unbearable. Eventually, they avoided traveling with him. Yet Nathan didn't let their reactions discourage him. He loved singing too much to quit. He practiced day and night, slowly training his voice and strengthening his control. Nearly a year later, when those same friends rode with him again, they were speechless. His voice had transformed, smooth, powerful, and polished, like a professional vocalist. Soon after, Nathan became the lead singer of a band. From that moment onward, his journey only moved upward. Wherever he performed, people applauded with genuine admiration. His voice, once mocked, became his greatest strength. Stories like Nathan's remind us of something important. Self-esteem cannot be handed to us by someone else. No one can simply praise us into believing in ourselves. Real self-esteem grows from experience, through setbacks, through practice, through facing failure, and still moving forward. It is built when we push past the moments where giving up seems easier, and we come out stronger on the other side. True self-esteem isn't just feeling good about yourself. It is the confidence that comes from overcoming challenges and accomplishing what once seemed impossible. And that kind of confidence becomes the strongest foundation for wealth, not just financial wealth, but emotional, mental, and spiritual richness as well. The evolution of wealth. The meaning of wealth has never been fixed. It changes with time, with society, and with our understanding of what it means to live a good life. What was once considered extraordinary slowly becomes ordinary, and luxuries eventually turn into basic expectations. This constant evolution shows us something important. Our definition of wealth is always moving, always shifting. And at the heart of every shift lies one simple desire, the desire to live better. If we look back at history, wealth was once measured in the most practical terms. In the age of basic survival, land was the ultimate symbol of prosperity. The more land a person owned, the more crops they could grow, the more cattle they could keep, and the larger their home could be. Land wasn't just property. It was security, status, and survival all at once. Then the world moved toward convenience and opportunity. Access to money, especially borrowed money, began to reshape society. For a long time, credit was a privilege reserved only for the wealthy, rich families, borrowed money to invest in new ventures. And these investments helped them become even richer. But this imbalance meant that the majority of people, no matter how talented or hardworking, remained stuck in the same social class. Without the freedom to borrow, they had no path to grow. A major transformation began when access to credit expanded beyond the wealthy and reached ordinary people. The moment credit became available to the middle class, everything changed. For the first time, everyday individuals could take out a loan, start a business, invest in their future, and dream beyond their limitations. This was not just financial progress, it was a social revolution that unlocked prosperity for millions. One company that played a surprising role in this revolution was Singer, the maker of sewing machines. Singer introduced the world's first installment payment plan with a simple, powerful advertisement. $1 down, $1 a week. For families who could never afford the full price up front, this was a breakthrough. With just a small weekly payment, they could own a sewing machine that transformed their lives. Before the sewing machine, making a single shirt could take more than 14 hours. With the machine, the same shirt could be stitched in 1 hour. This one invention created countless opportunities. Tailors could earn more. Homemakers could start small businesses. Entire communities gained access to a tool that boosted their income and confidence. Singer's success inspired other companies to follow the same model. Soon, refrigerators, washing machines, radios, and other household appliances became available on installment plans. People could buy what they needed without waiting years to save up the money. Their quality of life improved, and with it, their aspirations grew. If we look at modern times, the contrast is striking. Today, even families considered poor by the U.S. Census Bureau often have access to comforts that were unimaginable for the average household a few decades ago. Heating, cooling, smartphones, televisions, transportation, refrigerators, many things once reserved for the wealthy are now widely available. The standard of living has risen dramatically, not just for the rich, but for the majority of society. But this progress brings new questions. Has increased prosperity changed our expectations? The luxuries of the past are now perceived as basic necessities. With every improvement, our desires stretch a little further. And while growth and ambition are natural human qualities, they can also create restlessness. We aim for the sky, but the real challenge is staying grounded, understanding our values, our goals, and what truly matters. In a world filled with advertisements, endless media, and pressure to earn more and spend more, it becomes easy to lose sight of what wealth actually means to us. True prosperity lies not just in owning more things, but in staying aware of our dreams, choosing wisely, and living with clarity rather than comparison. Living consciously. Many of us move through life unaware of how deeply borrowed money shapes our decisions. Credit was once a powerful tool that helped families improve their standard of living and allowed economies to grow. But somewhere along the way, we stopped using credit wisely and began depending on it blindly. This unconscious dependence is one of the biggest reasons so many people today find themselves drowning in debt. To live consciously, we must learn to pause before we borrow or buy anything. A moment of awareness can save us from years of regret. Ask yourself, do I truly need this? Is it a necessity or simply a luxury I am convincing myself to buy? Will this purchase improve my life in any meaningful way? Will it create opportunities for me to earn or grow? These simple questions are the foundation of conscious financial decision-making, and they can transform our relationship with money. Think of this balance as a pendulum. On one side, there is overspending, buying without thinking, swiping cards without understanding the consequences, and allowing debt to pile up until we feel trapped. When we reach that extreme, financial stress becomes unavoidable. We spend more than we have, and soon we can't afford even the basics. The weight of debt becomes so heavy that it affects our happiness, our relationships, and our peace of mind. But the opposite extreme is equally dangerous. Human beings tend to overcorrect when they realize they've made mistakes. If someone has experienced financial trouble once, They may swing too far in the other direction, cutting every expense, refusing to spend even when necessary, and living in a state of fear. This extreme restraint may feel safe in the moment, but over time, it causes its own set of problems. Dr. Bob Muster, a dentist, sees this pattern in his patients every day. He explains that preventive care, simple checkups, cleanings, early treatments cost much less than dealing with lifelong dental problems later. Yet many people avoid basic care to save money, only to pay far more after the damage is done. Financial life works the same way. When we swing too far toward fear and restriction, we avoid small, necessary investments, and those decisions eventually cost us more. This idea also appears in the balance between saving and investing in yourself. Saving money is wise and responsible. It provides a safety net when life becomes unpredictable. But saving alone cannot build confidence or unlock potential. Growth happens when we dare to step outside our comfort zone, when we use our resources, time, effort, money, to develop skills, create opportunities, and expand our capabilities. If we always play it safe, we never discover who we might become. Being wealthy does not mean owning a large house, an expensive car, or the latest gadgets. True wealth requires self-control. Without discipline, even the richest person can fall into debt. But being overly cautious, refusing to take chances, or staying satisfied with too little can also hold us back. These extremes create stagnation. They limit our potential and slow down not only our personal progress, but the progress of the entire economy. Real prosperity lies in the middle, where awareness meets ambition, where caution meets courage. When we find this balance, we make decisions with clarity, spend with intention, borrow responsibly, and invest wisely in our own growth. Living consciously is not about denying ourselves comfort. It is about making choices that strengthen our future rather than weaken it. I'm going through a phase. There was a time when life felt slower, gentler, and far more spacious. As children, we lived in a world where days stretched endlessly, and a single year felt like a long journey. Childhood has a certain magic, an innocence that allows us to live completely in the present moment. We didn't worry about yesterday or fear tomorrow. Time belonged to us. But adulthood is different. Today, time has become the rarest luxury. We live in a world overflowing with gadgets, notifications, and endless distractions. Multitasking has become our default mode. We move through our days surrounded by noise, external and internal, so constantly that a few quiet minutes feel like a gift. Yet if we want to build a life of prosperity, clarity, and purpose, we must pause long enough to look at the bigger picture. Where are we right now? What phase of life are we in? And where do we want to go next? When we step back and observe our journey, we begin to see a universal pattern, 4 phases that everyone moves through at different times. These phases are learning, creating, perfecting, and freedom. They tend to unfold in that order as we grow older, but in truth, they can appear at any moment. Sometimes we experience more than one at the same time. Sometimes we return to an earlier phase when life invites us to begin again. The first phase is learning. This is the stage of curiosity, of opening our minds, exploring new ideas, and absorbing the world like a sponge. In financial or career terms, this is when we enter a new job, learn a skill, or begin a new chapter professionally. Learning shapes our foundation, and without it, no other phase can truly flourish. The second phase is creating. As we grow more confident, we step into greater responsibility. We become independent, build our careers, start families, and begin making decisions that shape our future. This is when we start earning, saving, and investing in ourselves. Creating is the phase where we take what we've learned and begin building a life around it. Then comes perfecting, a stage where we stand firmly on our own feet. This is often the prime time of life, when we know who we are and what we're good at. We become skilled at our work, respected for our expertise, and capable of performing at our highest potential. Perfecting is the phase of mastery. And finally, there is freedom, the phase many people dream of. This is when the constraints of a full-time job loosen, and we begin reaping the rewards of everything we did in the earlier stages. It is a phase of choice. Maybe you want to travel the world, dive into a new hobby, help your community, or simply spend more time with the people you love. Freedom is the moment when life feels entirely your own. But these phases are not strict rules. They are fluid, flexible, and personal. Anyone can begin something new at any age. Michael Stern is an example of this truth. In his mid-30s, he had a stable job with a comfortable salary. But deep inside, he felt unfulfilled. His real passion was chiropractic medicine. One day, he made a bold decision. He quit his job, took out a loan to pay for school, and stepped back into the very first phase. Learning. It wasn't easy. It required risk, sacrifice, and courage. But that leap changed his life. Michael went on to become a licensed chiropractor and later contributed to major technological advancements in his field. His story reminds us that it is never too late to begin again. Today, when you ask someone how they're doing, the most common answer is, "I don't have time." Time has become our greatest complaint. But the truth is simple. If we don't make time now, we never will. Waiting for a perfect moment only delays our dreams. Whatever chapter you want to start, whether it's learning, creating, perfecting, or stepping into freedom, the moment to begin is always now. Conclusion. In this summary, we explored the real psychology of wealth and prosperity. You learned that anyone can become successful, because success is not decided only by money or the things we own. We talked about how important it is to define wealth for yourself. When you know clearly what wealth means to you and how much is enough for the life you want, your journey becomes easier and more focused. You also understood how wealth has changed over time, from land to credit to opportunity, and how it will keep changing. This is actually a good thing, because it gives you the freedom to choose your own meaning of wealth. To live a happy and fulfilling life, you must find your own dreams and goals. We discussed how true wealth cannot come without self-esteem. No one can hand you confidence or success. Real wealth grows only through your own effort, courage, and belief in yourself. You also learn why living consciously is important. We all dream big, but we must stay practical. We need to manage our spending and borrowing so that we don't fall into unnecessary debt. Wealth can look different for everyone. It is not fixed or limited to money. The meaning of wealth keeps changing, and because of that, we all have the right to create our own version of a wealthy life. And finally, simply chasing money will not give your life real meaning. When you try to live with purpose, when you look for something meaningful beyond money, wealth naturally comes to you. That is when you become truly rich, both inside and outside.